So I went and saw The Hobbit, The Unexpected Journey, and I have a little confession to make before I give the sort of full review I want to give for it. I am not the biggest Lord of the Rings fan, mainly because I haven't really seen the Lord of the Rings films or even read the books. So obviously you're probably thinking, why is a guy like me reviewing The Hobbit who hasn't even seen probably one of the greatest trilogies ever made? Simply because I was never interested in Lord of the Rings back in the day when it came out. Like, I remember when The Two Towers was on release, the only other film I went to see in the cinema at the time, true story, was Sweet Home Alabama. That was the only film I was interested in seeing at that time. So I didn't really care about Lord of the Rings. So, why did I go and see this film? Because I felt, try to sort of make, a start sort of it, and I thought, what better start is to probably, kind of see the prequels of whatnot, right? And even before this film was released, I was still getting quite pulled off by it, because of all the things I've been hearing about The Hobbit, sort of in the production stages. Like, at first it was meant to be a two-parter, and now it's a three-parter. They've been using a different sort of camera to, so there's more frame rate sort of in it. I'm pretty sure I saw the standard frame rate, so it's not this 48 per frames per minute thing that makes it a little bit more very, like, I don't know, kind of realistic or something like that. So yeah, my review of the film is completely based off the eyes of someone that hasn't really seen Lord of the Rings. And with that, did I enjoy this film? I pretty much actually did, but not as much as you're probably going to hear, as the Lord of the Rings fans did more. And there's several reasons for it. First off, the story I felt for this film was actually really good, to sort of kick the film off. I think Martin Freeman is actually pretty good as this sort of Hobbit. I think it's Bilbo Baggins. I can't remember the name. I'm not going to look up to what it is, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. He looks like Martin Freeman looks like the guy, like, he doesn't like this, he's the adventurous type, he's like back home sitting relaxing, either like watching telly, reading books, reading magazines, whatnot. He kind of seems like that sort of character, so he kind of fitted really well sort of for this role for this film, and he was really good. I think he was the one thing I loved about this whole film. Now, obviously, I have heard of Gandalf, right? I mean, who, in this day and age of the internet, had not heard of him? Yeah, I thought he was pretty cool, although he seemed a bit, I think he kind of seemed he was holding back a wee bit. Like, he's not showing off his full powers. I know this is a prequel, and I don't know if he actually did show off his full extent powers in The Lord of the Rings, but he kind of felt like he was holding back quite a lot. The dwarves, some of them are memorable, some of them I have no idea why they're there to begin with. But yeah, the story I thought was really good. I love quite a lot of the sort of location around it. It gives you that sort of feel that you're in this world. The CGI for this is actually pretty amazing, pretty astonishing actually. Like, the amount that how it's actually evolved, and it's like so good. It's actually a wee bit breathtaking as well. And I like the fact that monsters are even are kind of like, their own selves. They're not just made to sort of be hacked, slashed, or even killed. They're just like their own thing. The problem I actually have with this film, literally, is not the fact of how long it is, right? I have seen long films before, but it just feels as though they're doing it deliberately to, max out the film, sort of to make sure it's like 3 parts. But the way Peter Jackson's directed this film from start to finish, it kind of looks like it's set up for the next part, which is going to be like, like this. We've all had our introductions for this first one. We've had a couple of battle scenes and whatnot. Now the second one will just be all full, battle and whatnot. So I don't understand why they're making this into 3 films. I thought 2 was perfect enough, and the way it's set up, it looks like it's setting up for like a second part, like as just a 2-part film. So I'm a bit sort of lost and a bit sort of maybe angered by that in a way. And probably one other thing is that I was getting pretty quite annoyed was, well, not really kind of annoyed, but like there's a couple of like homages to this, like in this film. Like if you're a fan of the Lord of the Rings, you'll see them a mile off, and I recognised maybe a few, but I probably think the reason why they put them in there is just to make the film feel longer. And that's where my biggest problem is. I just think this is a film where it basically is going to be seen by Lord of the Rings fans, and anyone who wants to try and get into it is going to probably have a hard time trying to understand why that is like maybe what I did in a way. But with all that though, this actually suffered something else which I thought it wouldn't do. It's not making me want to go and watch the Lord of the Rings trilogy, which is actually quite, quite scary to be honest, because yes, I do like this film. I think this film is really, really good and very well made, but I think the soul of the film is kind of like not there in a way, if you know what I mean. It's like, it's kind of like they've got it, like they have the characters that you remember, all this kind of thing, like some scenes are some epic scenes and whatnot, but it just doesn't feel like they're doing this because they have to. It's like it's another way of making money in this day and age, and I feel as though that is what this whole film is. Literally, it's just another way to make a quick buck, and I kind of have that sort of inception of it. Although some of it was a bit of a nitpick I was picking, some of it was like real legit thing. I think the whole thing about making money was kind of a bit more of a nitpick. But I will give this a good solid 8. Like, this isn't like the best film I've seen this year. There have been better films this year, but this isn't. I'm not going to kind of rush out to go to see this again. I think one time was enough for me, and I'm not really looking forward to the next one, which is quite surprising. But you know what, I probably will see it, but I'm not rushing out to go and see it like I did with this film.